good people. Welcome to the Position Podcast. I am so excited about today's conversation and the fact that you didn't count it as robbery to join in and to follow us on this series about resisting the rut. I am the one and only Dr. Janae L. Ryder, founder of Position LLC, where we are empowered to empower any woman who is seeking God, seeking professional advancement and wholeness and wellness within themselves. And so I am ready for a phenomenal ride today. We are going to just chill out, laugh. Who knows what God is going to do in this segment, but we are on a series called Resisting the Rut. And today we are talking about friendship, resisting the rut as it relates to friendship, to for kingdom women and for those who are Christian women. What does it mean? Like, have you had some issues with friendship? What have been your challenges and struggles and tribulations? And just also the joys, the triumphs, the beauty that comes out of women coming together. We're going to talk about it all today. And so if you didn't know, the Position Podcast is all about providing a platform for open dialogue, for the refilling and refueling of productive and prominent women. Are you a prominent woman? I believe that you are, or you wouldn't be tuned in. So let's ride. So again, I'm Dr. Janae, and on this couch, like, I have some of my friends, right? And it's pretty amazing that they would say, like, come on, let's talk about it. And we've all met at different stages of our life and in different environments. And I'm just excited that they're here. These are women that I love, I appreciate, I've taken advice from and for, and just learn from. And it's been beautiful. Of course, everything is not always easy, but to God be the glory. We just continue to like rock out. So this is all the way. We have it's crazy that both of y'all are in finance.
Oh,
Really?
there we go. That's good. Hey.
It's kind of wild. Like this English degree, education major, like I have like friends that are really like in finance, which you should. Like your friendship should be diverse and all of those types of things. But both of these women are finance executives, finance leaders, and aficionados, or should I say aficionadas? I don't know. But over here we have Kenya Mathis, and I'll allow them to introduce themselves and whatever they want to share, and also Dr. Deanna Romulus. And so we'll talk about our journey and where we met, but I'll let y'all introduce yourself. Anything you want to tell the people.
You want to go first?
Yeah, I guess I can go first. My name is Dr. Deanna Romulus. I guess a little bit about my background. I can probably sit here for quite a bit, so I'm gonna keep it really short and brief. My background is in fashion design and marketing, education, financial services, and also insurance. So, breadth of knowledge, right? Um, right now, what I do is I help business owners, small business owners, solve problems. My focus is really on just like relationship building, which is what we'll talk about today, right? Just the relationship between women. So one of the things that I kind of pride myself on is helping people solve problems that they struggle with. Um, but I think we'll get into it when we kind of talk a little bit about where or how we met.
Right.
Should I let her
Yeah.
introduce first?
However y'all want to flow.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kenya Mathis. I'm in finance as well. I head the finance department for a historically black
Woo
HBCU.
woo.
And yeah, I guess we'll talk about how we met more as we get into the discussion. Um,
Yeah, so like Kenya is not going to be shy on this couch. So just tell her to warm up, Kenya. If you're looking on the screen, say, come on, Kenya. So Kenya and I, like, crazy thing is, my mom used to babysit Kenya when she was an infant, like, and had no idea. And then we met at an old church that we used to both attend. And Kenya was that it girl from Chester. Like, she was the cheerleader. I didn't even go to the high. So we're both from Chester. I didn't go to Chester High. Never even attended Chester Upland School District. But Kenya was like that it girl. But we would see each other, in passing, and she went away like to college to a. It's funny that she works at the HBCU that I graduated from. I worked at the HBCU that she graduated from at a point in time. And I don't know, we just kind of started clicking, I guess, after college or during college years.
Yeah.
Like, we would do stuff at church, but it wasn't like I had some friendship issues and some connection issues with women anyway. So I'm like, what you want to do? Like, why are you like,
Yeah, I think
what?
our time there was like a transition stage for both of us.
Yeah.
So, and I believe after we, branched off to different churches, our relationship grew much stronger.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for that. I'm
Yeah.
thankful for that.
Yeah,
I'm at my
it's-
current job because of you.
Yeah, I mean, and her son is my husband and I's godson, and as my daughters, that's our son. The other day we were at I took one of my daughters to work with me on Tuesday a few days ago, and she was telling the people how I had all these, like, she's like, I have a brother, and he's 12, and my staff was looking at me like, you never said you had a son, and I'm like, it's my God. I don't correct her. I just let her go with it. But yeah, so yeah, our relationship changed. It like evolved.
Well, they're his sisters. So.
Yeah, yeah, they're his sisters too. So it just evolved over time. I
Yeah,
think that,
yeah.
and then there's more, like, I feel like greater layers and greater depths that we could go through and go to as it relates to our friendship. Like, I kind of describe Kenya as that, like, rider. Like, even when I feel like I wasn't a good friend, like, Kenya is showing up. We were in business together. Like, when I was trying to figure it out, like, she just like, whatever, like, I'm here to support you, whatever you need. And
There
she's
it
been
I'm
like,
gonna be there.
she's been
There
like
it is.
consistent. When I say like consistent, like a consistent, a consistent and reliable friend. Like, literally, like, I know if I need to like go somewhere, I could go chill on her couch, or like, she just is that friend. Like, it don't take a whole bunch of maintenance. Like, you know
No.
how you got those friends where you gotta,
Yeah.
we gotta talk every day,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's drama, and it's just like,
Oh,
I don't have no
yeah.
drama to talk about. I'm just trying to progress, and
Exactly.
that's never it. Like, and I could say that about both of y'all. Like, Deanna and I, we don't talk like every day.
No.
It could be like months that go by, but then we pick up, like, we
Right
just
where we
talked
left off.
yesterday, and kept going. We met in our graduate program for our doctoral degree. We are tried and true hawks. And so, I didn't know, like, from the beginning, we just started like kind of clicking. It was like three of us that was
Yeah.
like tight, and they tell you that you have to form these groups
Mm-hmm.
that you
Separate.
bond with from the beginning of your doctoral program,
Yeah.
so that you hold each other accountable. And
Mhm.
like, we had this whole thing like 4 years and no more, because a lot of people, sometimes they take 6 and 8, and some people still didn't finish
Yeah.
but none of us finished in 4 years.
Right. The moral of the story is it took a little bit longer.
But the
than
fact
we
of the matter is that
anticipated,
we
but
finished. It was
Yeah.
it was
all.
tough,
Yeah.
That's
and
all that matters.
we literally would spend hours just like on Zoom. It would just be the two of us or somebody else, quiet, not saying anything, just writing. Did you research? We both had babies. We were both pregnant within the
In the
cohort,
cohort, right?
right?
Wow. Wow.
And then the icing on top of the cake was that she was a believer.
Mm.
And we shared many of the same values. Her family like had ties to Chester, which I would have never
Yeah.
known. Like, they were like a huge, a well-known family within like a lot of the church circuit things. Not saying that Deanna was a part of the church circuit. She'll tell you she wasn't. But she was more of a hustler selling candy from the candy store at church on Sunday. That's what she told me.
Yeah.
So, so we met, and we would just like kind of work together, and she got married, and it just, we would be late at school, so she was just again consistent. Like, her attitude didn't change. Like, no matter what life changes I had gone through. I remember when I lost my brother, when, like health stuff had happened, when, I was just like, I'm tired of this. Like, we could just talk and then
Get
not
out.
even like question the value of each other.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. Like, I feel like that is like friendship.
Yeah.
In so many ways. Like, you can see each other navigate like
Yep.
things that really could be travesty,
Yes.
and that
Yeah.
could really like say like this could destroy me, but you show up, you say, what can I do? I'm
Mhm.
present, and then you just keep rocking. Like,
There's
Yeah.
just certain people you'll do that for. Like,
Yes.
I when I identify those people, like we kind of friends for life. They know who they are. Everybody know who they are because no matter how long it's been since we've talked, just like what you said, they can pick up the phone and we pick up like right where we left off.
Exactly.
And it's a bond. It's like regardless of what you need in that moment, I'm going to try to do my best to be there and support you and just with people who I hold dear, right? Because that's not everybody. You got
Mhm.
people who are acquaintances, right?
Yeah.
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 You got people who's only meant to be in your life for a short period of time. And sometimes you got to figure out when you need to let them go, right?
Hey now.
Right? You're like,
Hey
"Oh,
now.
okay, this is not working a
Yeah.
little bit, but we'll see where this goes. But one thing that I did, like, it was mutual. Like when I first met you, I was like, oh, this is a powerful woman. I like her. That was one thing. I was like, okay, she's doing her thing. And then your faith, you were actually, this is kind of crazy because, we kind of old. And, I don't like to say how old I am. But out of all my friendships, I think you were the only one who prayed for me in the moment when I needed it.
Wow.
Mm,
And that was when my cousin was murdered.
mm.
When she was murdered, and it was like right after class, and you just sat down and just prayed with me in the class. That's like a powerful moment right there. Like,
Yeah. And that's, I believe that is important in friendship.
yeah,
Just having a friend that's a believer,
yep,
somebody to pray for you when you're down, somebody to lift you up when you're down, somebody
mm-hmm,
to be that strength when you are weak.
mm-hmm,
Like, that is a friend. That person that gives you the truth when you need it,
yes,
Mm.
even when it hurts.
yep,
Like, I want those type of people around you,
yep,
around me.
yep,
So, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's excellent. That's
Yeah, there's a
excellent.
lot of value in that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
And yeah, like more recently, like I had to, evaluate my circle.
mm,
I did like a deep evaluation of my circle, and you know, some people just dropped off, and some people I just
Mm.
had to let go.
mm-hmm.
But it was needed. That shows growth in yourself, and within your friendships. So yeah, that's
How do
big,
you
having
get through
faith.
that? Like, I know we talk about that, like, and that's a rut. Like, some people and some of us as women, like, and I know I've done it, like, you get stuck there. Like, I feel like I have to be loyal to some people, especially after there's been years, of, oh, we've been connected since childhood, or they were there for me when during this period of time. And I feel like some people hold that almost like a hook over you,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
We've
yeah,
how
been
could
yeah,
you
friends
do
for
yeah,
that
so
and I was
long.
there,
yeah.
like, how,
Mm-hmm.
what were some of the things like that you like, that's a rut, like that's one of those things that is hard to get through.
Yeah, you're not connected to the friendship. You're more so connected to the history that you
Mm.
Mm,
both shared.
right.
Yeah.
So, and you have to release that. You have to release that, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because those are like different seasons. You got to think about it. You go through
Hmm.
your seasons and they do too. And
Mm.
sometimes those seasons don't align. So it's like, all right, we either got to give each other space or this friendship no longer adds
Right.
value.
Exactly.
So we have to make some changes here.
Exactly.
And, you try to do it in a way that's healthy, right?
Mm.
Whenever you salvage like a relationship, I think now, like kind of looking back, I'm very mature when it comes to like ending relationships.
Mm.
And the way in which I do it is really being honest with myself and the person too. Like I'm someone who things keep me up late at night. Like if it's just not right within my spirit and I gotta talk to either the person that I have the I guess the problem with, right? So that we can try to solve it. Because I'm a real big believer in just trying to solve something, right? Just because it helps me sleep at night, right? And everyone isn't like that. So that's one thing that I had to learn, is that everyone doesn't operate like I do. And I have to be okay with that, right? And meet people where they are. So whenever there's a relationship where I feel as though I need to let it go, I do have a conversation with the person and let them know, like, why it is I feel the way I feel, and why I think, you know, we might not want to connect on that level anymore. And I think that's like a maturity thing, because like, you struggle, you're like, well, how about I just like not talk to them at all and just throw them to the wayside, right? But you're like, but then, you run into that person again. So it's like, okay, now how do you interact? Because the last time you talked to this person, like, it was bad, right? And you never ended it. You guys never talked through it and like solve whatever the problem is. So now I try to be as honest as I can, and I think people respect it too. Like when you are honest and upfront, and of course when you're honest, you're upfront, right? You don't got to remember lies,
Right.
And I can't remember anything, guys. I write everything down, and then I refer back to it. I'm that type of person, so it's really difficult for me to like try and do that. But I think I matured in a way where I'm honest with myself, and I can have those conversations and say, this is how I was hurt. Because usually it is some type of hurt, or there's a disconnect where you don't feel as though it's just not a good situation to be in. I guess I should say that. And you kind of take it from there. But yeah. So that's kind of I'm okay with letting people go now, but I wasn't always.
And having that release conversation, it makes it peaceful. It makes it peaceful.
Yep. Yeah.
It's hard. Like, I know that there are some relationships that I wanted to like end in a cleaner way, and sometimes it's a part of me that's like, oh, I wish I had gone back, or I wish, like, it's some things that happen in my life. Like, I know when I was really young, like my best friend, she just died. She died when we were, I guess 6. I think we might have been 8. And she had sickle cell. And so she would battle, and sometimes, like she was like the only person on the block, shout out to 11th Street, that my mom, would let us like play together. And I remember one day coming home and I'm like, where's Mirror? Like asking her aunt Tootie, all the names of the hood. But
Tootie.
asking her mom, like, where's Mirror? And she was like, she was in the hospital. And I'm like, okay. And then to find out like a few days later that she passed away. Oh, wow. And I never got to close that, Wow. And actually God brought that back up to me recently. Like, that's something that you have to grieve over.
Yep.
And let go. And then I've had experiences in my life where it's just like, even with like people, I had a really close friend, like, I mean, we met in college. She came and lived with my family, took care of her. She had issues with her family. Strange, I don't know. But I could only go by what she said. I don't know really how they work. But we took care of her, helped her. She wanted to go to this like internship at this church in Louisiana, right? And so we helped her like fund it, get there, all this stuff. So she gets down there and then just like cuts us off. But then I thought about it. I said I would have cut me off too if I was still associated with the last church. I said maybe that's what it had to do with.
Yeah.
Maybe that was like, okay, you're affiliated with them. They've told me down here that it's like cultish or whatever it may be. So I'm just gonna cut you off. And it never made sense to me. And like she would reach out like periodically, and I'm just like, I never got closure. And I wanted to go off on her. Like, how could you? Like, stay, like,
we were friends.
My mom took care of you. You know what I mean? And it's like one of those things. It's like, my mom took care of you. You could at least give us like a little, like, this is what happened. And then I know like some other friends that I had taken in, and I was a mentor to them in college, and they were everywhere with me. And then one was like really a mentee, and then it transitioned to a best friend type of, not really best friend, but like a close friend. And then it was just like, okay, somebody else kind of got in, and I saw that it was, somebody else that I used to like rely upon that was like a sister was going back to her, that, telling her things that I,
You
like that
thought
I was
was,
having issues with.
oh,
Because it
got it.
was just, she would have like emotional and mental ups and downs. And so I'm talking to somebody that was like my big sister, like, this is
Trying to
what's
sort
going
it out.
on, not knowing that she was using that to gain her affection.
Wow.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Mm.
And to gain her friendship. And that really, like, that tore me up, because
Yeah.
I'm just like, and I never really got to close it.
Yeah.
And then once I saw it happen, it was
Mhm.
nothing that I could kind of
could
do
do.
about it. And then I
Yeah.
was just like, I just want to cut you off.
Yeah.
And then she's like, you can't cut me off. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
can.
even want you in my
Yeah, I
wedding. You know
can.
what I mean? That's really like, and I remember her like crying. I was just like, why are you going to be in my wedding? Like, we're not even friends
Yeah.
like that
Yeah.
anymore. Like, I don't want you involved. And then it just ended up going, we just
Mhm.
didn't talk. And I care for her, but I feel like we never had that conversation. But it's so
Mm,
many other influences that come in to bring a messiness,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
friendship. And so, especially being like Bible kingdom women, like,
Mhm.
what is
Mhm.
the right way to deal with that? Like, and I know that I've had to just submit it to God. I still pray for her sometimes when her name comes up.
mhm,
I haven't seen her in years, so it's not like I'm running into her. Like, I really
mhm.
don't know. And when something happened to her, I remember, like, when her ex-husband split, I felt terrible. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
I felt really bad, because I'm just like, how is she doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
What does
Yeah.
that look like? I never want somebody, like,
Mhm.
I hope
To
that
go
she's
through that.
okay, but that let me know my heart is in the right
Right
place. But
place.
still, I
Yeah.
can't
Exactly.
let you back in, because it was also some other stuff with that wasn't right
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
We may get into that conversation today. We may
Yeah.
not. So, but yeah, how have you all navigated that? Or have you had good examples of that?
Good examples be this is a clarifying question. Good
She
examples of
always clarifying something.
I,
See,
I gotta
Anna will
clarify before I
say,
answer.
this is all like, just to follow up with that, or just to clarify. I'd be
I
like,
gotta make
oh my
sure
gosh, or
this
to make sure
this
I'm
is part of
clear.
having a strong relationship. I need to
I find
know.
it hilarious, but I love it. I just be like,
Listen, don't you like when we both on the same page?
yes,
See, that's
she
what.
come
Well,
in with,
thank you for asking for clarification because I
Yes.
need clarification as well.
See,
see,
there
So,
you
all
go.
right,
See, if
okay,
I
all
didn't
right.
ask,
See,
we would have been
we
like
all would have
this.
been lost. I get
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
I
yeah,
get it.
yeah.
yeah. So, so the clarifying question I had was, what is the question?
So
Because you
when it
said a
comes,
lot. That's
okay,
why I'm saying that.
so
Because you
when
said
it,
a lot, so I wanted to make sure which
oh
one.
yeah, okay. So when it comes to like navigating like the messiness that
Okay.
sometimes can come about, have you seen healthy like examples of addressing it? Or to like, what do you feel like a kingdom minded woman should do um in navigating
So I'm pretty straightforward. Like God is, Jesus is love. So I give people the benefit of the doubt. But those who know me, who are my friends, they know that I'm pretty straightforward and direct.
that?
So with those who I know who are a little bit more sensitive, I do allow them time. I guess um, I normally say exactly how I feel in the moment,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes that may catch some people off guard who don't know me.
Mm-hmm.
But for those who love me and friends who I've had a long relationship with, they understand that it's me. Now, I don't do things in a disrespectful way because
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
right. But I say exactly how I feel in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And my hopes is that we can always like talk about that and talk through that. Now,
Right.
with the relationships that I have, those long term relationships that I have, and there's only a few, right? Just being honest, there's only a few. Those are the people who we can tell each other exactly how we feel. We don't get offended by it.
Right.
And many times you just need to vent. So sometimes you can say something and it's not even directed to the person you're speaking to, but because you never got the chance to talk about it, it's coming off like that. So, you know, I guess it's good that I get the opportunity to do that and express that. But how I in the past, I would either just cut the person off because my nature was just to be direct.
Right.
Because I always felt like I can't like personally. I had a lot of male friends, so they were direct.
Mm-hmm.
So the way in which I communicated with women were direct
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
because that's just like my
Right. You just take it
nature
off the
and who
chest, right?
Yeah.
yeah and
Yeah.
it just made me feel good. My mother is direct. So it's like that's just how I communicate, and that's probably why I had more male friends than female friends as well, because I didn't like confrontation as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't, if it happens it happens, but I didn't like it, so I wouldn't say anything where I think it would cause a conflict.
Mm.
So sometimes, so earlier, I say, you know, when I was in my 20s, right? That's our early back, right? When I was in my 20s, you know, I felt like I got it taken advantage of,
Mm.
you know, because I cared a lot about what people thought at that stage in my
Right.
life, right? So I felt like, you know, like my friendship was taken for granted. And if I felt that way, I would then cut that person off instead of confronting them about it and trying to solve it at that time.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it was difficult for me to articulate my feelings in that moment
Right.
because I didn't have the words. And now that I've matured, I have the words so I can say that and not feel bad about it.
Right.
Um, so, um, so yeah, so the people that I was able to do that with, like they're my friends now. But it is difficult. So I know like starting that journey with like just building friendships, it really starts with yourself. Like you
Mm.
really understanding yourself and being comfortable in who you are, and being able to like articulate your feelings. Because that's something that I struggle with
Right.
because in the way I grew up was, you know, toughen up, you know, hold it inside,
Yeah.
fight through it, be
Right.
strong, right? Why you crying? Get up. Like,
Sound
you
like me
know,
and my
so
brothers.
yeah, so it was just like, oh, okay, wait, I'm not supposed to share my feelings. We don't do
Right.
this, you know. So I had to learn how to share my feelings, but it was later. It was later in life that I
Mm.
learned how to share my feelings and not feel bad about sharing my feelings.
Yeah.
Right.
So, you know, if I know what I knew now, I probably would have more friends. But I'm okay with the friends I have. They're great. They're reliable. You know,
As long as you have solid friends, you're fine. It's not the quantity,
it's the
it's the
quality.
quality.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think that has so much to do with it. I feel like we have to model for our children what healthy
Absolutely.
friendships are and what healthy relationships are because there weren't true models of it.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know, I can say like my grandparents had some like
Mm.
they had good like that those
Models.
southern people that kind of migrated from the south up here and they looked
Yep.
out for each other and were community, but
Yep.
then it was, you know, as things progressed and people were exposed to drugs and you know a
Mm-hmm.
lot of illegal and illicit activities, it like really thwarted like what that community like mission was
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
for
Yeah.
like our the black community, I have to say. And then you know like my mom had some really she had some really good friends. Like it's so crazy, like my mom's like best friend from like childhood, because my husband gets a kick out of this because he's like, you just call her by her first name. Like, but that's kind of
Nuh-uh.
how we grew up, you know, like it was just like, oh, that's Lynn, you know, like I really don't know to this day like why we do, but that was like my mom's close friend,
Yeah.
and whenever something went down, like we knew Lynn was around, you know,
Mm.
and that's who my mom spent time with as a child, you know, and she's my sister's godmother, and you know, like all those
Mhm.
different types of things. But then it was like the friends that were supposed to be friends weren't friends to my mom as much as she was a
Mm.
friend to them.
Exactly.
And so like
Exactly.
seeing that, but I kind of picked up some of that like also like toxic pathology.
Yeah.
We're gonna use
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
Iyanla Van Sant words sometimes, but because I just would extend myself to people because, it was a point in time people like, you mean you this and you're that. And I'm just like, but I showed up. Like,
Yeah.
you don't
I'm here.
understand me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's what it is. Like, you don't find those people that really, like, understand you. Like, Janae's not being mean or uppity. Like, she really is just, like, she likes being to herself,
Yeah.
or she's processing things. Or the fact that she's utterly traumatized.
Right.
Let's deal with that. Like, and that she has to deal with so many, the context around every bit of her encounters socially and spiritually, even within the church, is within this lens and perspective that is tainted because of her experiences. Nobody really took the time to understand, but I also like was like, I kind of don't trust y'all type stuff. Because that's what that was the examples. Like, people just didn't, they were mean, like, and like they were really mean. Like, y'all were real mean girls,
Right.
but grown mean girls, like, to see how, I feel like I'm so appreciative of my relationship with my siblings because they really are like my first best friends, and I remember people trying to come in between that because it was just a plan of the enemy, to try to bring about division for us, because that actually is something that we've stopped, like, within our bloodline. Like, as siblings, we are not going to be in discord or be jealous of one another or try to, like, tear down the other.
Yeah.
And so that taught
Yeah.
us to, like, stand up in our friendship, but also gave us, like, the example of, like, what we don't accept, like, my brother would show up, like, just pop up. He would say, damn, like, the one friend I was just telling you, he was like, she don't really like me. She really likes you. Like, let's be honest. Like, and so I'm the closest thing that looks like you. So she wants to be in a romantic relationship with me. Like, that's the type of stuff that he would just say, like, off the cuff. Like, and I'm just like, that ain't true. Like, you just really, but he always had, like, things, and they're like, no, they not really looking out for you. Or even, like, with boyfriends and things like that, like, Mark would just show up and be like, I will punch you in your face. Like, like, I'm on my way. Like, don't be dumb. Like, type stuff. So, and we always had to look out for my sister, even though she's the oldest sister. Mark and I were like the goons, and it's like, yeah, we coming to save you type situation. But I think that it showed me, a lot of things. But as I'm, navigating, there wasn't good examples of people honestly being friends to one another. Like, genuinely, like, I care about the progress of my friends' children, and whatever resources I have that I can expose you to, I'm gonna extend them to you as well. Our kids aren't in competition with each other. Like, they need each other, because who else is gonna be the sounding board? Because we know your children go through these, like, phases where their friends become that, and so really building that village around them to say, like, listen, Ari, we're not, like, that girl is not right, or like, we don't stand for this. So I feel like it's really good for, because they ask the questions like, so how are you and Aunt Kenya related? And I'm just like, well, we're not blood, but
I
we're
know.
just, it's the black way.
Yeah, I know. It's the black way.
So it's,
What's that saying?
Kinfolk.
Who's your mother's friends? Who's your mother's friends' children? They my cousins.
Yeah, but I feel like, do y'all have examples, like, that you
Yeah.
can talk about, or the lack thereof? Like, that's what I was pulling up in Proverbs 27, 9 and 10, where it says that it talks about friends, and it says, sweet friendships refresh the soul. And that is like ointment and perfume delight, and the sweetness of a man's friend gives delight by hearty counsel. Do not forsake your own friends or your father's friends, nor go to your brother's house in the day of calamity. Better is a neighbor nearby than a brother far away. And it's just like, do we have those friendships that really are like, or do we have examples of that are really like that sweet fragrance, that sweet like oil? Um, do we see that generationally?
So yes and no. I say yes because like one side of my family, love is through the air, meaning um, there are a lot of cousins I didn't know were not my blood cousins that I found out in adulthood they weren't my blood cousins. And I'm like, wait, hold on, how are we actually related? And then I found out that we're not related at all.
Right.
But that wasn't something that was communicated that we were not related at all.
Right.
It was just like, oh no, this is your cousin, from Fayetteville, North Carolina, right? So, this is how this is how y'all related. And then it was like end of story. Right. So then you always got confused about like your true lineage. You like, wait, I thought I was part of this family, right? It's like I hope you don't date your cousin. But you have that, and then I have the other side of the family where there were friends who were longtime friends, but we knew they were just friends. Mm-hmm. Like it was a line. Mm-hmm. It was like, yeah, they're not blood, but we treat them like family anyway. Right. But so you knew who that person was. I guess I feel like in our like generation, that's not common anymore. From my perspective, you might have a different perspective, but I can count on my hand like friends that they are, they're not blood, but they my family. Yeah. Right. I'll do anything for them. They know who they are. I'll do anything for them. And like, it's funny because like my son, he be like, Mom, how are we related? And I'm like, wait, hold on. This is my sister, okay? So I know we don't got the same mother, the same father, but we sisters.
Right.
So okay, Mom. He gives me this look like, okay, Mom. So it's kind of explaining like that dynamic and like how that came to be is what I found worked well when explaining that relationship to my son, because I wanted to explain that so that he knows like these is different types of friendship. Yeah. Right. Yeah. There's people who are acquaintances, right? Who you just say hi, right? For whatever reason, you just don't know them yet, right? Everybody's not your best friend. It takes some time. You need get to know each other. You gotta fall and see if they're gonna help you get back up, or they gonna leave you there and kick you, right? So you gotta go through those like trials and tribulations and whatnot. And now I'm making it a point to make sure my son kind of, both of them understand like those dynamics in friendship so that they can navigate life. Because I want them to be able to choose their family. I think there's a lot of value in being able to choose the people who you call family.
Exactly. Wow, because that's a powerful powerful principle.
Yeah. No, I mean I think that's a privilege, right? Because when you're brought into this world, like you're just brought into this world, you just wake up, you're here, right? This your family, your mommy, but
can't choose your family.
You can't choose them,
your friends.
but you can choose your friends, and you can choose you can choose your peace. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So
choose
that part. That's you can choose your peace. Yeah. And I'm at a stage where I want to choose my peace, and I want him to know that he can choose his peace. He doesn't have to, follow, right? Because he's still young. Kids they follow after everybody, right? Until they find out who they are. And I know I got a long way to go, but I just want him to like know that you can choose like your family, right? Because I think it's some value in that. But my experience was, I think in our generation, I don't see a lot of that. But in the generation before me, there's a lot of that. Yeah. And depending on if it's healthy or not is another question. Yeah. Right? Yeah.
I think that it is healthy. Like, I feel like you need that. Yeah. Because it extends your lineage. It extends like your perspective. Like, you have a greater appreciation for people. It broadens, like it's almost part of, like we hear about that prayer Jabez, to broaden the corners of your tent. And I feel like friendships help you to do that. Like, because it's a wealth and a richness in life that you can't create yourself.
Mm.
But the connection with someone else brings about a richness that then adds value to your life experience.
Exactly.
So it's I was looking up a article like in 2014, and Maya Angelou said that um, when asked how can a woman determine if someone is really a friend or an acquaintance, she said that Dr. Angelou said that there's a marked difference between acquaintances and friends. Most people really don't become friends. She said they become deep and serious acquaintances. But in a friendship, you get to know the spirit of another person and your values coincide. Friends may disagree, but not about serious matters because your values coincide. A friend will stand for you when you are no longer able.
Wow.
And so, like, I feel like we need that. And that's, like, really part of the reason why I feel like positioned, like, as a community is needed because the richness, like, it's so much cattiness,
Yes.
and, like, sizing up and we get to achieving like, oh, I'm making 6 figures, I'm making 7 figures, I have this influence, I have that, I got this house and I got this car. But it's like, but do you
And
have
some
rich
acquaintances.
friendships like
Yeah.
that go beyond just like one or two, like two people? Like, of course you're going to have like your close friends, but it's like, do you have like those rich relationships? Like, that's why I'm like, I want all my friends married because I want to be able to travel together as family.
Hey now.
You know what I mean? I want us to be able to do things like where I know people that were my family that I was forced to be friends with were the ones that violated me the most.
And
And
that's what I
so,
talk about
And
unhealthy.
yeah,
That's why I was saying the
that's
yeah,
funny.
unhealthy
so
part. That's
that
the
is like,
unhealthy.
that's the
Yeah.
part of the
Yeah.
unhealthiness. I feel like when it's right, like,
Yeah.
and that we have to ask God to really lead us, because it's like when red flags go up, it's like it's a red flag. Like,
Yeah.
we not pushing forward. Is no, we not passing go.
Nah.
So yeah, like, how do you like? We have to cultivate that, like, and that's what I feel like people need to see more examples of the fact that, like, oh, like, it's okay to be vulnerable in front of like women and not expect like for somebody to take from you just because like you might have bared a portion of your soul at that moment,
Yeah.
um and that's what, like, I can go off, you know what I mean? Like, I can go off, I can go on a rant, but then y'all like still center me, like, all right, come back to
Like Janae, that's too
the
much,
like
Janae.
that's enough. Yeah, so like that genuineness, like, it's that toxicity that has to be like eradicated. And if we don't tie like friendship back to what God says friendships are, then we lose it, and that's the lens that I look at, now when I'm looking at people, even those that don't know Jesus,
Yeah.
like, you gotta have some principles, like something for me to be
Right.
like, okay, I know, but I want you to know this is what I believe, and we
Mhm.
may not agree on a whole lot of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but this right here, you can't touch either. You gotta align with,
Yeah.
like, we're not gonna. This is a non-negotiable for me, and
Mhm.
so like, what are some non-negotiables that you feel like kingdom women have to have, or that you have for yourself, because they aren't always shared. And I know mine is just like, boundaries.
I was just about to say boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely boundaries. I would have, I thought they were friends, but acquaintances who would you know, jokingly jab you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
And my I have a good friend who's my friend now, and he would be like, "That's not your friend. That's
Hmm.
not your friend." And more recently, he's like, "I'm glad you let that person go."
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
It's like, because that was not your friend. But yeah, definitely have boundaries. Just that space, and you want peace. Like right now, I'm in a peaceful place. I probably call about 2 people. You one of them, Janae. And I'm okay with that. I'm
Mhm.
okay. Life is good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you definitely have to have boundaries and just that peace. Yeah. I just need peace.
What
Peace,
would you
no
say to
drama.
that woman that you know, like they know, like this friend is like because they don't align their lives right, and they like refuse to kind of line up with who God says that they are. And so they bring all types of craziness. You know what I mean? Like, you know, when they come around, it may be funny. You know how somebody,
Right.
like, it's a good laughing time,
Hmm.
but then you know that their life is like miserable.
Yeah.
And it could bring like an exposure to your house, to your mind that could impact your peace. Do you feel like that person is truly a friend when they refuse to like get their life together, or they step back into acquaintance mode?
I don't have a problem with people refusing to get their life together, only because they have a choice. They got free will. They got a choice, right? But when it impacts me and messes up my peace,
Yeah.
that's when I have a problem.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I, like again, I'm pretty direct. It's like I'm gonna tell you if uh, I was offended,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or the I'm not vibing with you, right?
Right.
I would let that person know now that I'm mature. I would do that.
Do you think does it depend on how the I would how can I say this what they did, is it based off of, because I feel like some things like you don't even have to address, it's like bye.
Hmm.
Well, that's when it goes back to the
Like they don't
boundaries,
even
right?
deserve a conversation.
Mm.
Right. But that's because you my assumption is for sure that person knew what that boundary was and they crossed it. So it's easy
Okay.
for you to say no because y'all already knew like that
Yeah,
was a
yeah, yeah,
boundary and
yeah,
you crossed it.
yeah.
So then yeah, you can go. I mean, I kind of agree with you. You can do that because it was you asked you got to ask a clarifying question.
Yeah.
Just say
What? Like
it. No, I'm saying like with your friends, it's like well you knew we talked
did you
about
know
this
that?
Mhm.
Right.
before.
Mhm.
Like I told you, like I had something that was traumatic that's connected to that, and you did it anyway. Like,
Mhm.
do you really care about
Yeah.
me? Probably not.
It's more
So
about what
And
you
if it's
can
a
do for
constant
people.
thing,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's just kind of like the underhanded stuff. Like, that's the hard part, especially when you do try to confront it and
Hmm.
you think, okay, we've come to some type of agreement. But then
mhm.
you see, like, you still trying me. Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm just going to go ahead and just,
Yeah. Let me.
Good.
Bye.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, let
yeah,
me just, I'm going to just back out of this one.
yeah.
It just, I don't know, like
Sleep good
friendship.
that night.
You said you sleep good at night.
We gonna sleep good that night.
Hmm.
I know that in Job he talks about that his friends like are intercessors and pours out in tears for him.
Mm.
How important is intercession in friendship?
Oh my God, that is very
Deep.
important.
She said deep.
Yeah, it's very deep.
I remember I had a foot in the street and then my foot in the church, and but you were there,
Mm.
and I would say, "Oh, Nay, that's my praying friend."
Yeah, that's so true. That's so
But
true.
I think that is very like all of my friends have to be believers.
Mm.
Like, cause I'm praying for you. I would want you to be praying for me, especially at times when I'm weak. You're gonna need that lift up. So yeah, intercession is important. Intercession is very very important. Um, just in life in general. Um,
Right.
For me, I have a different opinion on that. Um, all of my friends don't have to pray for me because I understand that people are in their season, right?
mm,
And they're still developing because I'm still developing and
Right.
I'm
mm,
not perfect. So some people don't even know how to pray or how to
Right.
intercede. They don't even know what that means.
mm,
Like they might have been in church all their life, but they weren't paying attention.
mm,
So,
Right.
in some cases, people don't even know how to be a good friend, right? So then um, you start to develop a relationship where you're kind of learning together. And I'm okay with that. Like I expect people to like do something wrong or whatever. I just do, right? And my hopes is that they don't. But I appreciate when I find someone who is a praying person, right? Who I can lean on, because there's times when, I'm not able to pray and I need somebody else to pray just because I can't get the words out because I'm too hurt. Right. And I don't even know what to say. And that perfect example, like I shared a little earlier, was when you prayed for me when my cousin was murdered. Like, I was just in disbelief, like I couldn't. And, it's kind of a testament to like that intercessor, right? You just came in and prayed for me in a moment when I needed it and I couldn't find the words, right? So I don't have a lot of that, right? I think you're probably the only one, right? Just being honest, you're the only one. So it's like, oh, that's a different level of friendship, right? Where there's other people who, I'm connected with, they're still very close friends. I won't throw them aside just because they didn't know how to pray for me. Not saying that, any of you said that, but like, I just understand that people grow at their own pace. And I allow them to grow at their own pace as long as it doesn't interrupt my growth
and your peace
and my peace. Right. And then my peace, I gotta keep that. I got it, and I gotta hold on to it. So,
it really is, especially like I want to be able to like, when people come over the house, sometimes I want to be like, Lord, rebuke all spirits that came in here. Like, don't bring no craziness in my house, or in my environment where my kids gotta lay down. I gotta my husband try to get some peace. So, like, don't stay out. Like,
that is real. That's real. You gotta be careful.
Yes, you do.
With energy and spirits that people bring into your home and that interrupts your peace. Peace is the word for the night.
Yes.
I feel like there are different levels. Like, there are people that I would consider friend. Like, they really do well for like for what I need them to and what they need me for. Yep. Like, and maybe it's it's just a different type of friendship. But I just know that there are certain things I'm just not going to delve. Like, it's no reason for me to go into like some things that may be going on like on a soulish level with you because you don't really have the capacity to address it unless Holy Spirit sometimes will lead to be like, share that with them so that sometimes people just need to know that you're human.
Yep.
Because I realized that people had placed me on pedestals that I didn't ask for, neither did I set myself up on. But it's just like they placed me there. And, one of my good friends that just passed away, and she, really talked to me about while she was in the hospital. I was talking to her about how, she was like, "What?" I was hot in the pants, like I was just like, that's how she said it. And so she was just like, I was like, yeah, like I wanted to get down, like my aim in life, because I was messed up. I was like, my aim in life was, listen, I'm trying to find as many men as I can of different ethnicities, different nationalities, so that
you get food.
Right, so I could get my food. Okay. But also it was about, like I want to get my power back. So I'm trying to see what I want. And then when I choose what I want, that's what it is. Thank God I didn't get any further than Ethiopia and Liberia.
I can't.
Thank God that I stayed within the states and then just dabbled a little bit. But
dabbled a little bit in Africa.
It just was, like she was like, I wish I would have known that about you. So that we could have because she was like, I would have, wanted to know more about your testimony about how God redeemed you. And I realized because I had been so guarded and so ashamed of so many things, there was so much of myself that I wasn't really, sharing with others. And in friendship, that's why I said I wasn't always a good friend, I feel like, to Kenya, even though she might have felt like I showed up, but I realized I was so guarded. It wasn't intentional.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know that I could share this part of myself and we can learn from each other within this journey or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny that, like, we are meant to be broken, like,
Yeah.
in that part of carrying our cross is also being exposed. But God has already, like, taking care of the shame for us. We don't have to carry the weight of that thing anymore. And I feel like in friendships, we're all often sometimes like secluded, and isolate. Like, I can't share this part. You do have to be wise about who you're vulnerable
I was
in
about
front
to
of.
Yeah.
ask,
Yeah,
when do
you
you
do.
feel, when do you know it's okay to open up to um, an acquaintance or a friend or?
It's a few things for me.
Okay.
Like, one, if it's just on like it's a trust tip partially. And there, honestly, if there is something that I feel like is a prompting that helps me to become more free, but also something that if I share this, it leads to their freedom as well. And another type of connection that helps us to live out who God has called us to be. Um, and some things are just like, at this point in time, what you gonna do? Like, if I feel prompted to share something, that means that at that moment, Holy Spirit has his finger on it.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, go ahead and share it, because I may need a liberty, that I had denied myself in other, like, experiences and other friendships. So I do it, but then part of it's like, what you gonna do? Run tell that? Like, like, I shared it with you, and more than likely I'll share it again, but this was supposed to be just this moment. Or it's certain things, like, I would never expose my husband in front of to a friend. You know what I mean? Like, never. Like, I may say, like, B is getting over, like, he's picking it today, but I won't ever, like, divulge things about him that then would uncover him and then create. That's the toxic part. Like, people try to create, I'm going to uncover something about this person so that then we have a connection that then makes that they're uncovered in this way so that then we can move forward. Like, that's a boundary. Don't ask me, like, and that was part of the issues with some people from my past. Like, I came from my honeymoon. You want to know how my honeymoon was? None of your business.
Exactly.
I had fun.
Like, how was it? Like, those, like, that's a boundary. Like, that's toxic. That's perverse. Like, you don't need to know those types of things. And I shouldn't know anything about yours.
Nope.
Like, it was wrong. Like, for you to even share, not that I asked, And so I think that it is like, we can't continue to uncover each other. And if that is the intent, like, you feel like, okay, there are some things now, like, my discernment is picking up so much more, and Holy Spirit's like, don't you tell that person that. Like, you may value them, but don't tell them, like, that vision.
Yeah.
Don't tell them that goal. Like, it was really hard for me to start even positioned.
Don't need to know everything.
Because I'm just like, listen, somebody stole my idea before that I really was about to start. Like, literally legitimate down to, like, some of the people.
Oh.
Some years ago, that somebody that was close to me, I was pregnant with Olivia at the time, and I was just like, this is what I'm going to start. Like, I'm just waiting to drop this baby, and I'm ready to do this. And I was like, I'm going to have this person, that person. And then, like, I turned around, they start planning this whole event behind my back, launching it, got this, like, and I'm like, what happened?
Wow.
I mean, devastated.
Exactly.
And so it just was teaching me more and more, but I'm like, I'm not going to be bitter. Like, I was just hurt.
Can't do it like you.
Oh, yeah, it's probably failed.
And that's what it is. Like, they were creating a clique. I was not like, I'm trying to, like, broaden everybody come in. I
don't even know what it is. It's not even around right now.
You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't trying to, like, positioned is not a clique.
Yeah.
It's a community.
Exactly.
and it's a growing and thriving community where we literally, it's about reciprocal relationships and friendships and sharing of resources and uplifting of one another and praying for one another. And let me, I'm not a gatekeeper. And when like that comes up, I'm like, I'm only going to share but so much, and it's something that is already in the works or something that I know like that Holy Spirit's like, go ahead and say it. But it's like we have to learn that. We have to be spirit led, and it's a proverb that says that a righteous man chooses his friends wisely.
See?
And
choose your family. I'm just saying. Yeah, you choose your family. I'm just saying.
And so, see, we backing it up with the word. So,
I'm just saying.
And then it's something about like the wicked, like they lead their way of or something like that. But it is like you have to choose your friends wisely. And, I see it amongst men and women, like especially now, like I feel really bad for men who don't have that place to really rest and cry and like have that brotherhood where sometimes it's just easier for women to do it, but in all actuality it's not always easier. It depends on who the woman is. Like it's taken me all this time to get here, so I feel like we just sometimes it's like just throw caution to the wind. What do I have to lose? And then Holy Spirit's like, you got a lot to lose.
You do.
So don't say nothing.
You do.
That's
right.
So it's like it just depends. And it really is like a spirit led walk and looking at the fruit of a person's life. Like I have friends that like are not saved, but they learn from me and I learn from them. But I just know what I can share and what I can't share because what am I expecting from it? Like if I want to just vent, but then sometimes what they gonna do with it afterwards? They got all about, not that I'm bringing like drama stuff, but it's just like what, what are they going? Who are they going to talk to about it? Because they don't have a relationship with God, like so. What's the purpose of it?
Maintaining that peace.
Yes.
So I think that, it is. It's resisting that rut, moving forward, getting out of that. Whatever the rut is to you that's making you not cultivate that friendship, that is lasting, that friendship that is healthy, and that you would want to be an example to your kids, even if you don't have kids, because every woman is not going to have children.
Right.
But
don't want them.
your niece, your nephew, your neighbor, like who is a good example? Like, I don't know what else y'all gotta add. I'm just going.
No, I was just saying, like, I go off of intuition and trust, and I don't trust people easily. It's built over time, but I usually make those decisions just based off of just trust and intuition. I don't share all of my story because it's my story. And like you said, it's like you give a part of yourself to someone. So it's how much of yourself do you want to give to this person whom you don't know or don't trust. So, I share what I need to in a moment when I need to. If I'm led to share that, I'm going to share it then. But I make decision based off of my intuition and the spirit in a moment, and determine what it is I should share.
Yeah, back to what Nay said, discernment. Yeah, that is important, and as I've grown, um, that's been very, very, very important. Just to know who to share with, and God say, okay, it's good to share that. No, back away from that.
Yep.
So
Not yet.
And even just people that I encounter in general, it's just great to have that discernment to when to and when not to is just important. So.
I feel like too, like women, especially Christian women, well, Black women have this like negative stereotype about being angry or being this or being that, and I found myself trying to go the opposite of what that stereotype was. So I'm gonna be the antithesis, or however you want to say that, or antithetical of what that may be. So I'm gonna be nice. And there's such a commitment to niceness that people have lost the purity of their voice in relationship. And felt like I don't want to be that person or repeat these like wounds, or I don't want to, you know, I don't want to, expose myself, so people hide behind the niceness instead of actually being kind to themselves, to really surrender a part of their heart to God, so that then they are who they're supposed to be in whatever relationships they have. It's just like really wild, to think about the fact that I think about all the people that I've come across. And my family always like, Janae, like, you have so many friends. And I'm like, no, I don't.
No, I don't.
I'm like, no, like, really, I don't. And they're like, no, like, I have a network of people that I've stayed in contact with over the years, and I've been nice to them. But suppose I wasn't nice or kind, like what?
How they going?
How would and so I would encourage like the Christian, the prominent, the woman leader to really examine like what are you trying to gain? Like what is the fruit of the relationships and friendships that you are pursuing? But also, what is the fruit of your life that you are bearing before God, so that He can produce within you who you're supposed to be, so that then when others need to get the fruit from your lives, they can eat of it. And the selfishness, like the jealousy, like all those things come from guarding unhealed places, And I literally, like, my brother, he says that all the time. He's like, you can like look at somebody and find the best in and I've made a practice of it, especially within professional places, because like you're like, in order to supervise and manage people, you can't always just pick. I have to find what is good that they are doing and good about them, so then I can focus on that, cultivate that even more, and then let's address what these challenging places are. And so I feel like in friendship, like God does that with us. And when I think about like why, in James it talks about how God called Abraham friend, and how he talked with him and led him, but he called Abraham friend because he found him trustworthy. And so if we're to have friendships that produce the fruit of God's likeness, what are we doing to find ourselves trustworthy? It's living like surrendered lives, like living lives that God would be pleased with. Like, I feel like we can go like on and on. Like, I really thought we was going to get into some other stuff about friendship, and I feel like this is where we're landing. Like,
it's all right.
About like the trustworthiness of our lives. And going through the process to like say, I'm okay. Like, I want to have good friendships. Like, it was that whole trend before, no new friends. No new friends.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I always say like, that is whack.
Yeah.
Like, and I know whack is whack. Okay? I shouldn't say that. Okay. I don't know all these trendy things. I don't know. But that was like, I felt like that was the dumbest thing, because I'm like, you cut yourself off from experiencing life based upon the people that you're around.
Exactly.
And so or you grow your life by the people that you are around. So like, grow me up, like,
exactly.
expose me, show me some things. Like, I love that, like Kenya travels all across the world. Like, she's a globetrotter. I'm like, she probably got thighs of thunder because she cycles. You know what I mean? She's a cyclist, and
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like,
Oh,
how do you
yeah.
go up these hills? Like, I'm trying to figure out how to do the elliptical, and you up here pedaling across the whole country. Like, I can't get, I can't do this for 5 minutes. And, but it encouraged me. Like, she inspires me, like, through all her challenges that she has to go through that people would never know. But she does it, and is excelling in it through it all because, like, she's surrendering something. Like, to know, like, Deanna has changed, like, careers professionally and has navigated familial, like, turmoil, like, throughout her whole life and, like, really stood up as her own. And so, like, I'm always inspired by her courage, like, her individuality. You know what I mean? The fact that, like, listen, like, I'm gonna finish this. Like, she's gonna do what she's gonna do. Like, you cannot force her to do something. You know how you got those friends that's like, oh,
They be
come
trying
on,
to put me in a box.
come on, like, let's. And she like, nah, like literally, like that. She like, nah, I'ma just, and you can't be offended by it because that's Deanna. Like, that's why you love her. And so it's just, I feel like it is understanding one another and really, like, caring and trusting that somebody has your best intentions at heart. And I say that about God. Like, I know that he has my best intentions at heart and at hand. Because in his heart, his position is right towards me. And he's not going to withhold his hand from me. Like, he covers me. He carries me. He, like, swats me. You know what I mean? Like, don't do that. Like, because that's going to destroy you. And I feel like that's what friends do. Like, the word tells us that friends hold you accountable,
Yes.
And, like, you
I
have
said
to.
that earlier.
Yeah, like, she did. Like, and if your friend offends you, you go, or if a person offends you, you go to them. Like, you don't have to go around the mulberry bush telling everybody this is what they did. Yeah, like, why do it? Like, that's one thing. Like,
I want my friends to give me the real. Kenya, you need to. No.
Right.
No. You was wrong.
Right.
And that has kind of been like a barometer, like, or a litmus test, I would say, not barometer, for how, like, I navigate. If I have to feel uncomfortable, like, if something within me is just like, okay, I gotta, like, work myself up to come into your environment.
Yeah.
I don't need to go.
Exactly. Exactly.
Life is, like, precious. Like, if I gotta, like, work this up and I gotta change this and if I can't
I'm not
come
going.
and feel like, one of the things, like, if I can't come and I don't have to put on makeup, I don't feel like I gotta get dressed.
That's a good friend right there.
Like, that's a friend. Like, if I don't even feel like putting a bra on today, like, I'm getting in the car, even though Brian be like, go put a bra on. Like, I'm not going out the house like that. But it's those types of things. Like, it's just like, okay, like, and I thank God. Like, I'm like, I have good friends. Like, I have good friends, and I thank y'all for being, like, good friends to me.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, like, good friends.
See?
Like,
You're gonna find. See, you can't. That's why you can't say no new friends, because we found each other later in life.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, later in life.
Later in life, after you learn what's not good.
Yeah, and you have a greater appreciation.
Yes, you do.
For it.
Yes, you
Give
do.
you that push me. Was talking about it earlier. My new job.
Oh.
They sent me this job, and I said, I can't do this. I've never done this before. And sure enough, applied, got it, and doing it.
There you
But
go.
if
She didn't push you.
she didn't push me, say, you got this, you can do this. You need friends, that's push you in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, y'all pushing me with positions. I'm telling you. Even though I gotta get an assistant or something. But coming in with the questions and helping, navigate stuff. I'm getting pushed. Y'all push me to be better. So I love more and appreciate life. So I hope that y'all are encouraged by the friendships that we have, and that this is giving you just a little glimpse of, like, what it looks like to have that God centered, like, friendship and that it does exist. Don't listen to what other people say that, like all women are this and I know you don't believe that because you weren't like that.
Right.
But it is my prayer that you find yourself positioned in healthy, godly relationships with women. And we could also talk about men because I feel like the church done messed up so much. They over sexualize.
Yeah.
Like we need to learn how to be brothers and sisters in Christ for real. Like,
I wanted to go that route. One of my closest friends is a male who's married. My son just found out that wasn't his real uncle. So I didn't know we was gonna go that route, but that he is a great friend. I'm great friends with his wife. His kids are my nieces and nephews. My son is his uncle, and yeah, that's my brother. That's my brother.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's needed. Like, I have a really good friend. He's my brother. Like, he moved. He hasn't been around as much, so the kids don't know him. But Brian knows him.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I'm on the phone. I'm still very respectful. Like, that's the thing. You're friends with his wife.
Oh
Right.
yeah,
I
that's my
always
sister.
ask about his wife. Like, I'm always, how's the kids? Like, they moved to North Carolina, but it's like whenever we talk,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just an amazing conversation of encouragement and challenge. And he's always looking out whatever you need. He like, sis, and
I
Brian
got you.
always know it's him because he's like, oh my
Yes.
gosh. He's like, if
Yes.
I hear the word, like, because before, like, we used to always nigga this, nigga that, and he's like, I know you talking to, Rye. And I'm just like, I know. Like, that's just the way he talks.
Yeah.
Like, he's a
Just like your uncle.
Philly, and I'm just like, all right, we can't. All right, we grew
Yeah,
up a little
I
bit.
think it's needed. It's needed. Like even with they help out with the dating and
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
so like I appreciate my brother.
you need. I mean,
Yeah.
we need it. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we can't. We have to teach our children, like, you know, okay, it's fine to have like male, like my girls. I want them to have healthy male relationships. Like, they have to,
Yeah.
know the fact that they have the relationship with Ari, and like they know, like, that's my brother, and we keep saying they got Bash gotta come, come
Come
around,
around.
like, like, so that they know that, like, we even, but also like healthy, girl relationships, and then it's like, let's talk about so that they're not getting like a perception of like what to do and what is right and wrong from like a secular lens. If we have like godly children surrounding our godly children, then they're going to cultivate and really ask those tough questions that then make them like kind of line up and they know what they're supposed to do. Like, it just, like, it's so necessary, and we really need it. Like, let's
Absolutely.
not sexualize. Everybody's not somewhere trying to hump, behind the, like, really.
You gonna get them folk. What's that? Somebody that a failed relationship? No. No.
Or
No.
you really like it, like people, like,
No.
because Brian and
Yeah.
I were friends for so long, and so people thought we were sleeping together. I'm like, I didn't sleep with this man till we got married. I didn't kiss him until we were. Did we start kissing before we got engaged? I think it was after we got engaged.
Oh, it was when y'all started kissing?
Is when we started kissing, and I thought he was rude. I thought he was rude because I'm like, every other man that I knew couldn't help. They wanted to put their hands all over me.
Right.
Not knowing he wanted to put his hands on me, but he was like, I can't because I respect and I regard you. So if we start, I don't know if I'll be able to stop. You know what I mean? And so he respected and regarded my life, like, and cherished me as God would have him to do. But people thought that we slept together just because we were friends. I didn't sleep with him in high school. Like, he was my male best friend, high school, college, after college, graduate school. I would go over to his apartment afterwards. Like, it just, that's just how it was. But we were, but it wasn't until God opened my eyes to him to say, oh,
This might be more.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was just like, nah, like not Luther. Like that's what we used to call Luther.
A
Because he used
lip.
to have like a S curl and stuff when we was in school. He was heavier, so but it just I mean, God did it, but then there are like just healthy relationships
Yeah.
that help.
Yeah.
Like and I was around like I was a drummer,
Mm.
and so I I've been around enough. Not thinking that we just like bro and sister it up and they
Yeah.
like trying to make a move. And I'm like, hey, I just let you come to my apartment because I thought we was chilling. But then kind of like, okay, what you trying to work with? But no, but like seriously, I think that we have to show that. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
not scold them when there are natural things that occur. Like it's like my girls even say they've asked me now at 10 and 6 we talk about crushes, and I say it's natural.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna go through a phase, like, and this
Yeah.
is what happens, and that. But I feel like so much was like, you're not
Mm-mm.
supposed, and they're just like, but it's natural.
Yeah.
This is why it was cute. Or when you reach a certain level of puberty, all right, we're gonna talk to y'all because this is what could happen. Even though y'all love each other as brother and sister, be careful because the enemy wants to creep in. Like I think that you just got to do it, but it starts in the home. It starts in examples,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
maybe we could have some conversations with men, like that really
That'd be
to bring them in to
Yeah.
say like how do
Yeah, that would be great.
it would be because we need to really hear the mind of men, like. Because some men are like, it really is platonic. Like, Brian, he was just kind. Like, he would send cards, It wasn't because he was trying to
Just
hit
that
on me. He
was.
just was different. You know what I mean? And he just did it. And people thought that, like, and I would have to tell him, yo, once we started, I'm like, did you know that, because it came out that a friend of mine, when we were on a little break before we, like, got into our full relationship, but she knew that I liked him. She started calling him behind my back, and I didn't know. So my sister is like, such and such be calling Brian, like, I'm like, what? Then when I asked her, she's like, oh well, at one moment I thought that I may like him. What? That's like a whole violation of friend code.
Cut.
I don't understand that. What do you mean you were trying to consider if you liked them? So you start calling them behind my back when you know we on a hiatus, and how I've revealed to you how I feel
Wow.
about them.
Wow.
But we going on to the toxic stuff.
That's
But
Yeah.
That's
But-
one you don't have a conversation with. Bye.
see, maybe I just that's it. But yeah, like I just feel like people they just don't know how to respect and regard each other, and we need to have a male perspective.
Yeah.
I think we had
that
a
would
good
be
dialogue.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great.
I think we done had a good dialogue.
Yeah, I think so too.
I hope that our conversation again has encouraged you about how to get out of the rut. As it relates to friendship, because God really wants you to have good friendships, because it speaks about like friendship is all throughout the Bible, and it tells us there's no love like a friend, like than the one that will lay down his life for a friend. Like we're supposed to love one another, and so we have David and Jonathan, and Jonathan gave up he gave up his sword for David, as well as was it his sword in his robe or his sword in his ring or something. He gave up to David to show like this is it. So he said like I want you to be safe. He protected him. He looked out for him. And he went against his own father, choosing your family.
Yeah.
Choose your family.
In order to protect the purpose of God on David's life. And that's what true friends do. They protect the purpose of God on your life. So I hope that you find it. I pray that God like really ministers to you, and that those who are struggling in the areas of friendship, that you ask God to heal you from those who have wounded you, but also to help you to see the message related to what it is that you've gone through. Because God really wants to fine-tune your discernment, fine-tune who you are so that you can show up and be a friend to yourself, as well as a friend to those that he's sending you to. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank y'all. Thank
Thank
you
you
so
for
much
Thank
for
having me.
you.
tuning
Thanks for
in.
having me.
And remember to stay positioned in prayer, positioned in power, and positioned in peace is what we're going to add today.
There you go.
Love you so much. This is Dr. Janae, and I'm signing out.